Hey guys, Marissa here, hope you're all doing well. If you guys have been following my channel this year, you might know that 2018 has been a year of epic mood reading for me, which basically means that I didn't really set any strict challenges or goals for myself at the beginning of the year, set very loose goals, and I've kind of avoided, actually I think this might be my first TBR related video so far this year. The other thing I have not been doing a lot of on my channel is talking about Asian or Asian American authors, which I do feel a little bad about because I feel like a lot of you guys found me through my Asian American author recommendations videos, and then I just kind of have not talked about them at all this year, so my bad, sorry. It's not that I've fallen out of love with Asian American fiction, and it's not that I will never read it again. It simply just hasn't been something I have been craving so far this year. So hopefully this summer I will get back into Asian American fiction, literary fiction, and actually just fiction in general, because I've been not reading a whole lot of it so far. Anyways, in today's video I thought we would combine the two things I haven't really been talking about, Asian American authors and TBRs, and kind of combine them to talk about the books on my TBR by Asian American authors that I'm very interested in reading. Keep in mind these aren't all of the Asian or Asian American authors on my TBR, and keep in mind that I'm only talking about books that I own. There are so many books out there in the world that I have saved to my Goodreads to be read shelf that I would love to get to, but for the sake of this video and not making it 5 bajillion years long, we're gonna stick to what I own currently. I have both physical and ebooks to talk to you guys about in today's video, but because the stack of actual physical books is very uncomfortable sitting on my lap, I'm gonna go ahead and just start with these, you know, super profesh. The first book I wanna talk to you guys about is actually the only nonfiction book on this list, and that is Paper Sons, a memoir by Dickson Lam. Now, I was very, very lucky to receive this from the author himself. He reached out to me a couple of months ago, so I should probably read this one before I get to the others. Dickson Lam is an English professor at Contra Costa University, and from what I understand, this is his first full-length published work, and it is published by Autumn House Press. One of the things that really drew me to this memoir is that Lam grew up in San Francisco's Chinatown, which you guys know is something I'm very interested in. My own father lived in Chinatown from the time he was born through about 4 years old, so if I can learn more about Chinatown through this memoir, I am so down for that. Just glancing through the quotes on the back here, aside from Chinese culture, I also see graffiti, social justice, Mao, Malcolm X, California Gold Rush. I just think this is gonna take like a broader social, historical, cultural view of what it's like to grow up Asian American than any other memoir I've read so far, so really looking forward to this one. The next book I have on my lap here, because again I'm super professional, is Drifting House by Krys Lee. Now this one I'm really excited to get to because this was first brought to my attention when I first reviewed The Vegetarian by Hong Kang like 2 years ago now. Has it been that long? Krys Lee is Korean American. She was born in Korea and then raised in California, so I think that her stories will probably be a really interesting mesh of the two cultures. I have not actually heard anybody review any of her work yet, but I have had this recommended to me, or have had Krys Lee's work recommended to me in comments on my videos, so I'm really hoping to like this one, and I actually think this might be the only short story collection on this current list. Next up, I'm bringing out the big guns because I have some Amy Tan on this list. This book in particular is The Kitchen God's Wife, but I also have The Valley of Amazement back there in hardcover. I was just too lazy and didn't feel like holding it up. I read Amy Tan's new memoir, Where the Past Begins, last year and absolutely loved it. I think it actually ended up on my 2017 favorites. Was it an honorable mention? I don't actually remember. Anyways, I absolutely loved her memoir, but if I'm honest, I have not yet read any of her adult fiction, so I'm really looking forward to getting to some of this. I probably should start with The Joy Luck Club, just because that's kind of like the quintessential Amy Tan book, right? But these are the books that I have myself. So I have this book, I have Valley of Amazement, and hopefully before the end of the year I will get to one of these. Continuing with the big guns, I have some Ruth Ozeki on this list. Now I will be honest, again, I have owned these two books for probably almost 3 years. Still haven't picked them up, and still continue to hear only glowing things about Ozeki's writing. I honestly can tell you that the reason I have not read these yet is that I am not the fastest reader in the world, and the font on these books is just teeny tiny, and I mean this one, what is this? This is, oh, I should probably say what they are. Duh. Rule number 1 of booktubing: actually state the title of the book you're talking about. The book I'm talking about here is obviously My Year of Meats, and this is where I was advised to start with Ozeki. So presumably this is where I will start, but this one is about 300 pages, and again, the font is tiny. This other one I have here is Oliver Creation, which I haven't heard quite as much about, but again, teeny tiny font, and this one is 417 pages, which realistically I know is not huge, but it's put me off from reading so far. So I really do want to get to these books because I continue to hear such good things about Ozeki, and I feel like she's somebody I will really love, but I just haven't read them yet. So hopefully, I've been eyeing this one recently on my shelves, so hopefully I'm working my way up to this one. Why did I stroke the book? This whole video is, I'm so very weird. Anyways, moving on. Another Asian American author I am very interested to get to is Lisa See. And I find Lisa See, the person, very intriguing because if you look at her, you would not in a million years go, oh yeah, she's Asian American. I honestly don't really know her like heritage, so I can't tell you how Asian American she is, like what the separation from full Asian is, but as another mixed race person myself, I find her incredibly interesting, and so I'm really looking forward to her books. And if I'm honest, aside from the Dickson Lam book, these are probably the ones I'm leaning towards picking up first. These are all of her books that I currently own. This one is of course Snowflower and the Secret Fan, which I believe is kind of a standalone, and then this one is Shanghai Girls, which I believe is the first book in either a duology or a trilogy. But either way, I've heard great things about both of these, and again, I just find Lisa See to be a very intriguing figure, so we'll have to see how I feel about these. Oh my god, what is wrong with me today? I didn't even have coffee. I'm just so... something's going on today. Two more books I want to mention to you guys, both of which I own as ebooks, so pardon me as I look at my iPad. But the first one I wanted to mention to you guys is The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. I've honestly owned this one probably since shortly after starting BookTube, so probably like 4 years now, and I'm very surprised that I have not yet read it. I think the thing that has put me off from reading this one so far is that I know it's the first in a series, and I know that when I get sucked into series, that's all I want to read, so I put that off previously, but now that I'm reading whatever the heck I want, maybe this is the year to go ahead and read that. Kind of forgot that I owned it, so maybe that's gonna happen sooner rather than later as well. Maybe I'm just gonna have to get a time turner so that I can read all of these books all at once. Another book I want to mention is The Leavers by Lisa Ko. This one was a National Book Award finalist last year, I believe. I could be totally wrong, but this was getting a lot of awards buzz last year, and honestly, it's another book where I didn't really hear anything bad about it. And I actually was genuinely excited about this book when I first heard about it. If you can see right there, that's it. I actually have a NetGalley copy. Like, I was so excited I went and got the NetGalley version, but then never read it. So something I need to rectify. And actually, lastly, the last book I want to mention is Pachinko by Jin Lee. Now, I am actually currently in the middle of this, so technically I've kind of already gotten to it, and I'm not really excited about it, which sounds weird to mention in this video because all of these books I'm obviously excited about. However, I'm excited about finishing this book because I really enjoyed the first third, shall we say, but the bit I'm in right now, I'm not super in love with. The last chapter I read probably back at the beginning of the year / end of last year, and was really enjoying it, then read like this one chapter and was so disappointed in it that I literally put the entire book down and have not picked it up since. So I'm excited about Pachinko in the sense that, one, if I finish it, that's another book I have knocked off my TBR, but two, I'm excited at the prospect of the book kind of redeeming itself in my eyes. I don't know if that'll happen, but my fingers are crossed because, again, this is a book that I haven't heard really any strong negative reviews about. So there we go. That's Pachinko, and that's the last book I have to talk about. Okay, I'm gonna make this outro really short because I don't know what is going on, but I'm suddenly very exuberant today. If you guys have read any of these books and you would like to encourage me to pick up one before the other, please feel free to do so. The books that I'm currently kind of leaning towards are Grace of Kings, the Fan and the Snowflower and that Lisa C book, and then Paper Sons by Dickson Lam. So those are the three I'm kind of most interested in at the moment, but again, feel free to advocate for your book of choice. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Sorry I've been kind of all over the place, but I hope you enjoyed it anyways. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye! Honestly, I'm like so bouncy today. This is very odd. This is what happens when you get more than 5 hours of sleep. That's what's going on. I actually slept last night,